Hey, welcome back, guys. And now we're going to dive into the dynamic search ads, right? The dynamic search ads I spoke about a little bit when we started going into the actual dive-in program and looking at what your capabilities are and the ad types, right? But dynamic search campaigns they're really, really designed for a very, very specific type of website, right? They're not going to be designed for websites that change the products on a daily or even a weekly basis. They're not going to be on websites that aren't very uniformly structured, and they're going to be more for customers that have thousands of products to advertise rather than just a few in their catalog, right? Now, when setting these campaigns up, they're very, very simple to set up, right? All you got to do is just set up a normal search campaign. You do new campaign. Say we want to do sales. We're going to go search. We're going to do website visits, collateralgrowth.com. Go ahead and send, like, you're going to have the same kind of setup as at the top of this, right? Your campaigns, your networks, your location and language settings are down below that. But if you expand this right under your networks, you're going to see where you have your start and end date, right? Where you can set the start and end date, your campaign URL options, where you can go more in depth in tracking, and we'll go more in depth in that in the analytics modules. But within this dynamic search ad, right? It's very, very simple, right? You just put in your domain, growth.com, use Google index of my website, and you'll go ahead and hit save. Now, there's a couple things that has to happen, right? Use Google's index of my site. So you have to have done what I've already know you already done, and you've completed that 5 things you have to do before you take on online advertising, right? So you've started to do that, and you've indexed your site through the Webmaster Tools, right? So within this particular portion, this is what's going to make this available. If you'll see right now, if I try and go hit save and continue, even if I put a budget in here, it did let me. I guess it's because my page has been indexed. But if you go back here, right, and that's really all you have to do to set this thing up, right? It's literally, right, you opt into what you want to index on this particular thing, and if your site is indexed through Webmaster Tools, it'll take the site map of your site and basically weave it into these ads and start building ads for you, right? So the other way that you can do it is use URLs from my page feed only, use URLs from Google's both index, my website, and my page feed. My page feed is what it's referencing is the Google Shopping feed that I'm going to walk you through in the next module. But I don't necessarily recommend these campaigns, right? And I'm going to show you the type of site you really need to have in order to make sure you can use this, right? The boltdepot.com, right? This guy carries every type of screw in both US and metric settings, every driver bits. I mean, he carries all sorts of things. And I'm going to pull up just a kind of a quick little a Word doc, right? Or WordPad. I'm going to show you how these URLs are constructed. Copy and paste them in here. So as we go down through here, right, and we're going to say Bolt Depot. And like I'm going to click on wood screws. So, and then if we click on stainless steel screws, all right, let's say I'm going to go number 6 diameter, right? Now, let's say we're going to go product catalog, and we're going to do flange bolts, all right? We're going to go down to zinc plated 5 steel. We're going to go to 1/4 and 20 diameter. Okay, now bringing this back up in here and focusing on this, rather the URLs, the main thing that you really need your website to be structured in a very uniform manner, right? Like if you're talking about wood screws and your Phillips head, your stainless steels, like it all has to be in the same format. See how Bolts Depot, like wood screws, right? And then we go into Phillips. and Phillips, regardless of what size, whenever I went all the way down to size, it's the same uniform ad structure that it can go in and pull from. And it really needs to be in this very, very tight index type of model. And if you're, if you ever have any URLs, like if you're calling a flange bolt of flange bolts in one and flange bolt in another one, it's going to throw off that dynamic targeting, right? So I only recommend these type of campaigns for people that really have a lot of products, like thousands of products, and their websites don't change very often, because the unfortunate part is you have to make sure either that it's re-indexing your site on a daily basis if you're making new changes, and Google really only does it, every couple weeks, maybe once a month after you've been rolling for a while, right? So these type of index levels, now you can have them seek out and re-index your file with Webmaster Tools. But again, that's an additional step and process that you have to complete, right? If you don't index your site for some reason and you have all these new bolts that are updated on your site, then it's going to show ads for products that aren't on there. So that's the reason why you should not use these if you're going to make changes on a weekly or monthly, daily or weekly basis, because it really has to rely on that sitemap that it indexes within the Webmaster Tools to figure out exactly what is capable, what the URLs within your site are, and what it can build ads based off of, right? So that content, it needs to be able to go to that page, find that content, and construct the ad in order for it to dynamically generate to the user's or the prospect's search query, right? So these dynamic ads, they're really good for, large scale companies that have thousands and thousands of products and are sites like this, right, that are uniformly and work down a very, very feed oriented, very strict pattern of the naming convention in order to make sure that it aligns. So if I do add a quarter, say I add a 3/8 by 20 in here, then or a 1 3/4 in here, then it's not going to, if that happens, it's not going to throw off the all index, right? If all of a sudden I re-upload this and I've now called this entire product field flange bolt instead of flange bolts, then it'll throw off my entire campaign and screw up my advertising within dynamic marketing and fuck it all up, basically. Like, you'll cost yourself a whole bunch of money or just deliver a shit ton of irrelevant traffic. So with the dynamic search campaigns, unless you have a website or a business that is structured with thousands of products in a very uniform nature within your site, I'd stay away from these campaigns. If you have one of those sites and you need some help with it, or you have a client, definitely reach out to me in the forum, on our community page within Facebook, and I'll definitely help you get these set up and working correctly, how they'll fire on all cylinders. But the reality of it is they're very, very simple to set up. I just walk you through setting up exactly how you assign the targeting to the campaigns. But to make sure that they are consistent and firing on all cylinders and having and delivering the appropriate relevant content is another manner in itself. And that's more of a website behavior and website basis rather than so much a campaign level, right? So your ads and all of what you push out there as a forward-facing asset to your customers is going to be determined based off of what it pulls from that site indexing. So if anything on that site indexing is incorrect or it's been changed since it's been indexing, it's going to throw the entire thing out of whack. So just be mindful of that if you ever want to use these campaigns. And definitely, if you have an idea or you got a potential client or your company's expanded and looking to offer more products and you've reorganized your site like something in this effect, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you get this all set up where you can utilize this. But if you're a normal, e-com company or service industry, I would stay away from the dynamic ads because they're probably going to cost you a lot of money and not giving you nearly as relevant traffic as you would get just from operating through normal AdWords. So I hope that kind of clarifies dynamic search campaigns for us. They're a great, more advanced tool, but again, they're for a very, very kind of hyper focused market, and your site definitely has to be in a very, very hyper focused, consistent, almost templated format to do. So let's jump into actually building out some more of these advanced features with the targeting and strategies and things you can actually put into practice on a daily basis to improve your ROI and put more money back in your pocket. So I'll see you in the next lesson.